Coming to you live from the Motor City of Detroit. This is Get Off My Lawn Live with your host, Eric Buckner. Brought to you by the NightHawk Network. NightHawk Network. Our voices for our people. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy E. Beezy, Eric Buckner in the building. This is Get Off My Lawn Live, an extended preview edition. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. Here in Detroit, it's very cold. It's been snowing on and off, and we got some more coming apparently, and not looking forward to any of that. Can't stand that snow, y'all. But nonetheless, I am here, and I'm here to discuss what the latest is in terms of the NightHawk Network and give you a preview to this week's shows, as well as have a quick discussion with you about one of the things that's happening here in Michigan starting tomorrow. So let's get into it. First of all, let me give my acknowledgments. Shout out to all the friends and fam listening in from here, there, and everywhere. Y'all don't know, the NightHawk Network is expanding by the day. We're getting people that want to be part of it and basically liking what we're doing with the network, liking what it's consistent of, looking to put their own input in terms of things. We appreciate all these things. Keep these comments and things going. Like I said, constructive criticisms, whatever they may be, please let us know about it. This week, my IT department is working on getting us a NightHawk Network email together so that for those of you who have anything that you would like to leave in terms of information or inquiries or anything of that nature, you will have that to do so. We also will eventually have a phone number that you can call, as well as a website that you can go to. So all these things are in the works for the NightHawk Network, and hopefully we will have those things to you relatively soon. Also want to send a shout out to, of course, the great people of the NightHawk Network that are constantly doing what they can to promote and to spread what we're doing here to others. We appreciate you very much. Thank you to those of you who are sharing the broadcast, who are telling people about what we got going on, and giving them the link to find us. Among them, of course, is on my Facebook page, which here we go. Basically, you can go to my YouTube page here. It's Eric Buckner, NightHawk Network Detroit. And then when you get there, please subscribe. As you see, my subscriptions need some work, and hopefully you guys can help me with that. We're trying to get to a point with it to where we can do things to spread out the NightHawk Network and do things for the community and things of that nature. So that's why that particular part is key. So for those of you who like to catch the past episodes of these programs, I encourage you to find them on YouTube under Eric Buckner, NightHawk Network Detroit. And those of you who like to share them with others, you may do so with that as well. So we thank you for that. Okay, in terms of the NightHawk Network, we had a lot of good shows this week. We got some more coming up. Tonight, in fact, on Dish and Tea with Big Meech, which should air sometime around 9 p.m. this evening, we have his what's becoming quite popular, I Said What I Said Sundays, where you, perhaps even you, could come and take part in the show, and he will give you a little time to discuss some things or let things off your chest, as long as they're respectful and you don't come with no foolishness, because the gatekeepers will not deal with you kindly if you do so. So keep that in mind. But if you just want to check out the broadcast and see what we're talking about, I will be part of that show this evening as well. Feel free to tune in. That's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this evening. That is Dish and Tea with Big Meech, and of course his co-host, the big guy Ally Big Red, and Aunt Nikki. So please tune in for that. Also, we have the usual broadcast that we got going on during the week. There's tomorrow we got Hey Bitches with Helena Hologram. Tune into that for 9 p.m. I believe that will be her last show before she goes on a hiatus for a couple weeks. So you might definitely want to check into that, see what she's got going Monday. Tuesday, of course, we're doing Get Off My Lawn Live. And on this week's Get Off My Lawn Live Tuesday, we're going to talk about some things that's going on in terms of the COVID situation and where we're at with that now. We're going to discuss the latest in the Biden administration and some of the things that he's got going in these first couple of weeks. In particular, we want to talk about his COVID relief bill and kind of deep dive into that a little bit and have that discussion. We also want to talk about how they want us to start to implement things so that we can open the schools back up. We want to have a discussion about that. I'm right now reaching out to a couple people. Hopefully I can have at least one of them on the show, fine educator of our children, where they can give them their personal uh, thoughts on what's going on in terms of the schools opening back up for in-person learning and things of that nature. We also want to talk about how it is in different parts of the country. So definitely want you guys to chime in for those of you who are parents and are having different experiences in terms of your online learning or your in-class learning. I want to hear from you guys and see what your thoughts on all this as well. And then we're also going to get into a person by the name of Eli Sabbath. Who is Eli Sabbath? Eli Sabbath is the Washtenaw County prosecutor here in Michigan. And some of the things that he is implementing in his particular county, I think you'll find very interesting. It's going to be a real good discussion in regards to that. So I definitely want to get into some of the things he's trying to implement in his county in regards to prosecution and things of that nature. Got a quick comment. Hey there, not sure who this is. You probably on the Facebook part to where I don't see the comments. Don't have my electronic devices here at the moment, but hello to you. If you'd like to make yourself known, please do, so I can know who I'm talking to. But meanwhile, like I said, I do want to have a quick discussion, however, on a topic that comes to importance tomorrow. For those of you here in Michigan, know that the governor has done several things to implement a pause, which is to bring down the number of COVID-related positivities and hospitalizations and deaths here in Michigan. And as part of that, one of them was to shut down to shut down the dining here in Michigan. So in other words, there was carry out only. We are now to a point to where tomorrow, that being February 1st, she's going to reopen the restaurants. In other words, they are allowed to be open at 25% capacity and no more than 100 guests at a time. And of course, that is a big issue with people here because, one, they want to go out and be about and whatnot. And two, for the restaurant people, it's an issue as well. So let me speak on this. And of course, I can because I spent over 20 plus years working in restaurants here and around the city and state. So I feel like I am qualified to discuss this, not to mention the fact I've been a manager and I've managed a few restaurants as well. So I can speak to the numbers in regards to that as well. So let me get into it. Here's the thing, folks. Most of these restaurants, they operate at a very small profit margin at best. There are some restaurants that do extremely well under normal circumstances. Those restaurants, just like anybody else, is hurting right now because carry out, though it does provide them with some form of income, it's not nearly the type of money they would get if they were to have in-person dining. Take, for example, the restaurants who serve alcohol. Of course, if there is no in-person dining and the whole alcohol situation is still kind of shaky as terms as to what you can allow people to take out the door, then obviously they're missing a big part of their business because people are not being allowed to dine indoors, and thusly there is no selling of the alcohol, sitting at the bars, what have you. So these particular restaurants are definitely losing out on money. So even at 25%, it makes up for a very small portion of what they are able to bring in. Not to mention the part that if you're only open and can only be open at 25%, you definitely can't bring back your full staff at that point. What would you need all of them for? Ideally, your staff is set up for a full restaurant. So, of course, you then have to pick and choose who you bring in and how many hours they get, and all that becomes an issue. And, of course, for those of you, do remember that if you are in that situation to where you're not getting the type of hours that you normally get, you can file for something that they call underemployment, which basically means you go to your state unemployment office, and then you can go ahead and apply for the fact that you're not getting your full pay, and they may be able to supplement that income until a time to where you can go back to work fully. I know that works here in Michigan. It may not be like that for every state, but it works that way here. So something you definitely want to look into. Also, you have to keep in mind in these restaurants, a lot of these people who have worked here, they've worked there for many years, 20, 30, 40 years. I know several people that are probably watching this broadcast now, they are restaurant workers, and They are the people that have really been hurt by this pandemic pretty much more than anybody else. Now, of course, the problem also is the fact that the rules are different from state to state. So the argument is that, okay, well, how come I can't have a meal here in Michigan, but then I can just go right down the road in Ohio and the restaurants are open there? Now, granted, they have restrictions as well. They're just not quite as strict or stringent as the ones here in Michigan. And the numbers reflect that as well. Well, let's see. What up, Big Easy? That's got to be Coach V. What's going on, Coach V? Glad you could check in with us for a minute. Good to see you. So, again, we have to keep in mind that it's different from state to state, and purposely so. But when you look at the actual numbers in terms of how much the spread has declined here in Michigan during this last, during this last pause by the governor, you see that the numbers reflect that we are definitely on the decline. And that's probably mainly in part to some of the measures that she has taken in order to slow down the spread and hospitalizations, as opposed to some of the surrounding states. Ohio, Illinois, Wisconsin, those states are on the rise in terms of the number of COVID and hospitalizations and people dying and all of that. So while you guys are running out to go to other states so you can get your restaurant on and all these other things that just aren't healthy during this pandemic, to be honest, there's that. So also remember, 25% capacity, that's basically a fourth of your restaurant. I can tell you now, from being a restaurant worker all these years, most of these restaurants are not going to apply to that. They're not going to adhere to that fully. Absolutely not. They're going to try to get away with having as many people in that restaurant as they can. Some people, yeah, they will play by the rules that's been established by the state and the health department. And keep in mind, this next particular phase is just supposed to last for 3 weeks, at which time they're going to reassess the situation and then determine whether or not they can open up to perhaps 50% or even more. But that being said, because some of these people have not had no dining in months now, and they want to make up for as much of the money they've lost as possible, they're going to do everything in their power to get as many people in that restaurant eating as they can. And that's just the fact. So where we go forward in the next few weeks really depends on where you're going to eat and what's going on there. Some of you, you're not going to care. Let's be honest. You're not going to give a crap one way or another. You're going to be happy. I already know somebody that's on the Facebook today talking about they can't wait till tomorrow. They're going to their favorite restaurant and everybody should come and whatnot. That's not smart, people. That's not smart. You bring all these folks in here and then you got a table, because keep in mind, you're not supposed to have more than a table of 6 at any of these restaurants. But again, I know some people, they're going to stretch the rules on that as well. But in the end, you got to remember, this is a respiratory virus, okay? That means that you get it, you breathe it in, what have you. When you're at a restaurant and you need to eat, that mask comes off, you're back exposed to elements, you're in an indoor space where you're not going to get all the things that bring the air in and out to the extent that it would be outside, where there's more open air and the air flows more freely. So when you do all these things, there's that. Hey, Miss Pat. Miss Pat is saying, yes, here in Baltimore, it's now open to 50%. This is so ignorant and selfish. Absolutely. And that's the part that people are not seeming to understand. We're almost a year into this thing. Excuse me, folks. We're almost a year into this thing. And despite everything that's happened and all the things we've seen, the people like Dr. Ashish Jha and Dr. Anthony Fauci and Dr. Sanjay Gupta that have advised us every step of the way as to how we should move. And, you know, yeah, granted, people want to point out, well, at first they said don't wear a mask and whatnot. These were things that they had to learn along the way. We are still learning about these viruses even today in terms of how they affect people, you know, to what extent they are, the different variants that there are now, the ones that's more contagious and more deadly. We're learning all these things on the go. So no, we don't have all the information you need. That's why it's even more important that you should be as cautious as you possibly can. Israel's in the building. What's going on, Israel? Good to see you in here. Yeah, so, you know, these are things I really wish more people would sit down and actually consider before they make these decisions. Because again, I don't want to see anybody that I know or care about on the other end of that conversation where I really didn't think it was going to be that bad. It had been a while, blah, 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 blah. And now the person you care about, or maybe even worse yourself, has now become sick from the virus or has to come from the virus because of your desire to have to go to a restaurant and hang out with a whole bunch of people. Now they're asking people to wear 2 masks. Exactly. And that's because they're seeing that the virus is becoming more mutated in certain parts of the country. And because of that, these viruses, they adapt just like any of these other viruses. I mean, let's take, for example, if you get the flu shot on a yearly basis. Remember, the flu shot is really only like 55 to 60% effective in terms of stopping said flu. But that's whatever strains of the flu that particular virus covers. The flu virus is constantly mutating into other forms of the flu virus. So there's a reason why people who may get the flu shot still end up getting the flu, because that may be a mutated strain of the flu as opposed to what they got a shot for. So there's that. There's the issue of, okay, now we're giving people all these vaccinations. Is it a possibility that some of these vaccinations are not effective against some of these newer strains of the virus? These are things that they're studying right now. For the most part, they're saying perhaps not, but they may not be as effective. So there's that. As most of us are still considering whether or not we're going to take the vaccine, these are things we have to consider as well. There's a third vaccine that is going to be up for approval sometime next couple of weeks from Johnson & Johnson, a one-shot vaccine, but not quite as effective as the other ones. However, that particular vaccine, one Johnson & Johnson, has been tested against some of these new variants of the virus. So that information becomes key for them. Okay, what we got here? Ms. Pat saying, people just don't care about other people. They are so selfish. It should be a forceful law to make these clowns wear a mask. When I go to the supermarket, I have to tell, pass, get away behind, and practice social distancing. I'd be so mad. And we're definitely going to talk about that Tuesday. There's a word for that. They call it pangry. Are we pangry? We're going to talk about that Tuesday for sure. Once a virus is in the human body, it mutates. Absolutely. Because, like I said, certain bodies deal with certain viruses in different ways. There's a reason why certain people don't get sick at all, it seems like, and some people get sick every chance you look up. People's immune systems vary and are different because of their biochemical makeup, because of their heritage and, you know, what's in their genetic code and things of that nature. They don't really know. That's the scary part. And that's the thing. It'd be different if this was the type of virus, let's just say, you know who had the virus because that person's lips would be green or their face would turn purple. Would you deal with it a little different if you knew that way for certain who had the virus? Would you deal with it different that way? Because remember, the vast majority of people that contract COVID-19 will not die. The majority of them that get COVID-19 will not get seriously sick. They will have maybe mild symptoms, if any. There's that. But then again, you don't know at this point in time who may actually have the virus in their system and is spreading it to other people. That's the key element that people are not understanding. Even if you're not sick, even if you haven't been sick, even if it's been a year and you haven't got nothing, this whole time you might be a spreader of the virus and do not know that. That's the part that people aren't getting. Okay. Blood types play an important part in what their blood is. Absolutely. Because it's being said that some people, perhaps the people that have O blood or A blood, may be less susceptible to stronger parts of the virus than others and things of that nature. That comes into play. You're right about that, Israel. People, and then you have certain people price gouging, which is really illegal. And that's another part of the pandemic that needs to be discussed. Some of the things that's going on in regards to the fact that we're in a pandemic and people are taking full advantage. Because remember, for these many restaurants that we're talking about that are losing big time money and not having enough resources to make up for it, there's the other businesses that's thriving during the pandemic and making big time bucks. And for all they concerned, they might as well say that, yeah, we want it to keep going because that's making us money. So there's that part. You could be a carrier and don't know. Exactly, Miss Pat, that's what I'm saying. And most of these people are just that. They are the spreaders. And remember, the spreaders more than likely are not the people that are older because they don't tend to go as many places. It's not so much the kids because they basically rotated to school and home. It's most of these other adults between the ages of 20 and 50 that go out and about, that make up a good part of our workforce, that make up the people that actually have the cachet to go back and forth and what have you. These are the people that are the main spreaders of the virus right now. That's just a matter of fact. I mean, it's common sense to me. I don't see why nobody else gets that. But anyway, so the thing is, yeah, restaurants will be open tomorrow, along some other places. They're going to release some of the restrictions on them as well. But the way we move in these next 3 weeks will dictate what the governor does next. And I honestly feel like she's doing a very good job in regards to regulating what's going on in terms of the virus. Apparently, the state Senate does not feel the same way. Several people around the state have expressed their displeasure for how she's doing things. But I would like to think the majority of the people who have contributed to what's going on here in Michigan agree that she is doing a good job in regards to it. And for the most part, that is what I hear here in these streets. I don't know why people want to go out and eat. You don't know if that person has the virus. That's my point, Miss Pat. Yes. I see Israel's done a little research. O plus, O minus, A, B plus, and B plus are some of the strongest blood types. Absolutely. And then you have to remember, Israel, there are certain people and certain populations that have more predominant blood types than others. For example, if I remember right, it's like a very small percentage of African Americans. Most African Americans, if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong, Israel, if you know, A, B, or A is the predominant blood type for African Americans. Keep in mind, I have O negative, and I know from what I recall, only 4% of all African Americans have O negative blood type, and only 9% here in America overall. It's a very rare blood type. But if you know about the blood type O negative, basically is a universal type. So you can pretty much give it to everybody, as I've been told, but you can't get it from everybody. Basically, O negative, you can only get O negative from. I believe that's how that goes. See, Israel's O plus, exactly. So like I said, we are some of the rare exceptions. And they're saying that people with O blood tend to not have severe symptoms with this virus as, say, some of the others. That's one of the studies that I saw, at least. Do your research, look it up for yourself. That is your city, because the governor here wants to send the children back to school. How dare him? Now, keep in mind, our governor has expressed that she wants to send the kids back to school here and want to have some type of in-person learning by March 1st as well. We definitely will talk about that on Tuesday, Miss Pat, because there's something to it. See, Miss Pat is O negative also. I knew something I liked about you, Miss Pat. We both O negative. See what I'm saying? So anyway, there's that. So we will get into those things a little bit more in depthly on Tuesday, as well as some of the things I laid out. Again, thank you all for your support of the NightHawk Network. Things are growing. We are talking to folks. One last thing, folks, for those of you who are interested in doing some advertising on my show or on the show on the NightHawk Network, there will be a number that you guys could contact in regards to that. Some of you have already reached out in terms of my, what I like to call bootleg promotional commercials that you would like for me to work on for you and with you. I am definitely looking forward to doing that with some of you. Cousin, you in particular, please get back in touch with me, cuz. Been waiting to hear from you so we can get you together. So that being said, y'all, we about to cut on up out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. Again, Get Off My Lawn live will be 8:30 p.m. Tuesday. And don't forget my sports show, because we definitely got to talk about this Matthew Stafford trade and some other stuff going on in sports this week. And that is Game Time Audible. That show will be 9 p.m. this week. 9 p.m. for Game Time Audible with my host, Hugh Lee. Shout out to you, Hugh, if you in here. I have to share Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So once again, y'all, let me give you a quick rundown of the shows in the NightHawk Network. Got to send my people some love. Hey, bitches, with host Elaine Hologram. That is 9 p.m. on Mondays. We got Monumental Moments in God's Word with Dr. Marla Facey on Thursday nights. Catch that somewhere around 7 to 8 p.m. on Thursdays. We got Dish and Tea with Big Meech, Aunt Nikki, and Big Red. Those usually happen sometime around 9 p.m. And that's usually whenever my guy Big Meech is not at the donut factory, which is usually during the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But sometimes he has other days when he's available. We got Stand Behind the Blue Curtain, Saturday, 11 a.m. talking about policies in regards to policing and what goes on exactly behind the blue curtain, what they talk about in the police stations and some of the political world, a little bit of everything they talk about on that show, but it's primarily about police and police policy. So yeah, you definitely want to check that out. 11 a.m. Saturdays with Stan Mason and the crew. Shout out to you guys. What up, Joe? What's going on, Israel? What's going on, Izzy, I should say? What's going on to Pastor Tillman and Chief Jim, and of course my girl LaRonda. What's going on? Miss you on the show. Definitely want to have a discussion with you soon, by the way. We got Let's Talk with Aunt Nikki, her interview series that she talks to various people about a variety of different things. Girl Stop. Yeah, for those of you who have been looking for Girl Stop this week, I apologize. The IT department did not properly sequence that into our lineup this week, but we definitely will be getting that to you guys tomorrow morning. So if you've been looking for the latest episode of Girl Stop with my cousin Elena Miller and her homegirl Letitia Williams Howard, you'll find that Monday morning on the NightHawk Network page. And we got Pastor Sean Love Presents. You can catch that pretty much on Monday or Tuesdays. We will post that for you. You can find that on YouTube. Please like and subscribe that for them as well. And then, of course, we also have my audio podcast. I'll get into that to address these comments. Yes, African Americans, that's correct. 47% are O, 24 A plus, and 18 minus B. Yes. So there you go. There you have it. So yeah, again, I was talking about my audio podcast, which is here. Get Off My Lawn Reflections. You can find that on several different platforms. You can find that on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can find that on NPR. You can find it on Breaker. Basically, wherever you can find audio podcasts, more than likely, you'll be able to find my Get Off My Lawn Reflections podcast with your host, me, Eric Buckner. And check that out. This week's episode actually talks about, are you really ready? In other words, I'm having a discussion with people about what you should be looking for in terms of life after COVID. So I have that. What up, Sensei? Hey, what's going on, Pride Hunter? Glad you checked in. Keep in mind, Pride Hunter, soon to be the latest person in our NightHawk Network. His show should be coming to you very soon. He is very much on the tail end of getting it all together for you guys. And hopefully sometime next month, I would hope, we will have his show for you guys. Swallow Your Pride will be the name of that new show. Swallow Your Pride with your boy Pride Hunter and his co-host, which he has found. For those of you who are looking to be a co-host, Pride has found his co-host, and I'm very much looking forward to talk to him about it tomorrow. And then, of course, we have Israel. Israel Room is coming. Yes, we are discussing with Israel about doing a podcast, him as well. So you have that to look forward to in the future as well. So, like I said, the network is growing by leaps and bounds by the day. So for those of you guys who are interested in being a part of it or have some information or know some people you would like to have on the show or have some discussions that you would like for us to talk about. And yes, Tasha, I didn't forget about your subject. We'll talk about that Tuesday as well. By all means, people, please let us know. We are looking for your input. We are looking for all the information you can give us in regards to that. So again, guys, till next time, I will see you guys tonight if you're checking out the show. Remember, Dish and Tea with Big Beach, 9 p.m. Say What I Said Sunday. Please tune into that. I will be there, and hopefully you guys will be as well. If not, I will catch you Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. for Get Off My Lawn Live. Till next time, remember, as my guy Stan Mason always says, life is not a Trump rally. Please wear your mask. Be safe. Until next time, people, do just that, and I will see you then. Peace.